Hello everyone, and welcome to the session on SAP Concur App Center. My name is Mark Woodhouse and I work with our global App Center team. I'm responsible for the EMEA region, and today I'm joined with my colleague, Kirk Hayes, who is responsible for the App Center marketing. A year ago, Kirk had my role, and today we're both going to talk about the value of the App Center and show some customer stories about how you can use it.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. It is funny being here with you today. As you said, I'm leading our App Center marketing team. But up until a year ago, I was had the privilege of sitting in London for 3 years, thinking about how we grow our App Center business across EMEA. Really, just I think the background on why I ended up there is interesting to set this topic up, which is we've had an App Center within SAP Concur for a number of years now, generally US focused. And 4 or 5 years ago, we started to see our customers in the EMEA region uh, looking to work with integrated product partnerships like what we do in the App Center. And so that was the impetus for me moving over and thinking about how we better serve our customers in that regard. Which I think, Mark, in some of your previous roles, you've worked with IDC's part of the future model, which takes a little bit of the anecdotal work or the data that we were seeing of customers hungry for this, and then puts a little bit of rigor around it. So you just want to talk about what that says?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, as you mentioned, I've worked with the IDC Partner of the Future model in my previous roles at SAP. So, working with different partners in the ecosystem, and as part of that study, what it really emphasizes is that customers are really looking for, an ecosystem of partners, right? So, not just one partner that is solving all of their needs. They're really looking for these niche expert knowledge partners that can really bring value to the solutions that they actually purchase. So that's definitely something that kind of reflects very nicely into the App Center in terms of extending the value of the Concur expense, travel, and invoice by actually having these extensions or integrations built by our partners.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. That at the very highest level, that's what the App Center is about, right? Is we have third parties who are experts in their space who build integrated services with one of our core products to help our customers solve some business challenge they have that is adjacent to what we're doing inside of SAP Concur, or with their specific subject matter expertise or global expertise that they bring. So Mark, one of the things that I think we do is, we can talk about this conceptually of this idea of we need this connected ecosystem, and it brings value for customers. But where this really hits home is, I think, when we start talking about examples. So maybe just as a starting point, what's your favorite kind of example of an App Center partner?
Well, I guess it's, yeah, picking out a favorite. I mean, we have over 200 different types of integrations, so there's quite a few there. But I think probably the easiest one to kind of look at, and that's really around ground transportation. It's something that we all use in our travel, and usually, our employees or employees of companies already utilize these applications. For example, if we look at Uber, Lyft, FreeNow, all of these kind of ride-sharing applications that we have, they use that both personally but also through business travel as well. And just by enabling those apps into Concur, it helps, of course, companies start controlling their spend. So that's definitely an area where I think it's the easiest for people to understand. And of course, as the employees are probably already using those applications already, it's a quick win to switch those type of integrations on. So not only switching it on is a quick win in terms of getting that integration set up and help controlling that and manage that spend. We also see, of course, from a ground transportation, especially from a ride-hailing perspective, it's usually up to 30% cheaper in these types of scenarios as opposed to using regular taxis or black cabs. So yeah, that's definitely one of the areas I think is a very quick and easy way of looking at it.
Yeah, it's a good one. You start with the cost savings you talked about, and you layer in the user experience of just getting these digital e-receipts directly into Concur Expense. You're really solving for the touchless experience for for our users. Really both a win for the business and a win for the user, which I actually think is a nice segue into another one, which is our partnership with EY. So we think about EY, we think about what the challenge they're trying to solve for is that traveling across borders, whether it's across EMEA, globally, domestically in the US, there are compliance issues with that, both from the type of travel documentation that you need, as well as potential kind of tax obligations that may exist for people who are spending significant amount of times in places that aren't their home country. We actually have a video teed up here that we're going to show that talks through how our partnership with EY helps balance the compliance requirements of meeting your immigration and tax guidelines, but also doesn't impact the user experience too awfully much. So let's roll that now, and I'm just going to kind of talk through what we're seeing. And so this the opening screen here is just Concur Travel. This is what anybody who's using Concur Travel uses. When we have a traveler and he's searching for a trip, in this case, it's going from Toronto into the U.S. and Buffalo. So what you'll see when he searches for this trip is that because of the integration with EY, they are getting access to those search details, looking at the traveler's profile, and then serving back a notice that this person actually needs to complete before he takes this trip. So as he's booking, he clicks on this link within Concur Travel, which is going to pop up an EY assessment kind of window. When he does that, you'll see that we need to just fill out a few additional details, but you'll see the trip details have come over. The search that he's done, so he doesn't have to re-input that. It's just some additional details about what he's doing on that trip that guide EY and to allow them to deliver the immigration guidance that says, yes, you're fine for this trip, no, you're not fine for this trip. Or in this case, notifying him that, yes, he's going to need his passport, but he's also going to need a business visa. Then he comes back into Concur Travel, finishes that booking, and he actually enters an assessment ID here and will to note for his compliance team that he's actually done this assessment, that he's aware of his requirements, and that this trip is good to happen as long as he completes those things. So, Mark, I think you maybe as a next one, and certainly sitting in EMEA, one that we see customers taking huge advantage of is our partnership in the value-added tax space. Do you want to talk through that a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the key aspect here is really to increase profitability. So the value-added tax or the tax reclaim is probably one of the most interesting areas, especially in EMEA, to talk about. And it's just in general in terms of the apps that we have. And the reason for that is basically it's all about getting money back from your expenses. So we have a case story here, which I think I won't go into too much detail on because I think it's better to hear the story from the customer itself. So we have Daniel Cole, who is the Global Director of Travel at Electrolux. And he's just going to talk through a little bit about the success that he's had by claiming the tax back. So let's just hear a little bit from the video with Daniel.
My name is Dan Cole. I'm the Global Travel Director at Electrolux. We have SAP Concur Expense in 42 countries of the world. We use Concur Travel across most of Europe and all of North America. We have 55,000 employees at Electrolux in total, of which 9,000 are Concur users, so what we would deem travelers. And it's a truly global program. It was at Concur Fusion in Las Vegas in 2014 where we first met with Taxback International, and they offered us a free analysis of our Concur data, and were able to identify that in fact we were only reclaiming around 8% of the VAT that we were spending worldwide, which was around 30,000 euros at that time. In our first year of using Taxback International, we were able to triple the reclaim from around 30,000 to nearly 100,000 euros, which was solely down to improving the process. In the second year of our reclaim, where we really made the significant improvement, we turned on the connection between Concur and Taxback International. And that was an absolutely seamless process to be able to share the data so easily from side to side, so that then the experts have all of our data from across the world and can tell us how to optimize this process again. So rather than us sending it via Excel or being selective with what we think they need, the experts have all of the data and can tell us what we need to make that better. We are now approaching 400,000 euros per year, which we are reclaiming. So it's been an absolutely excellent project, which we couldn't have done without Taxback. We're really excited about the future with Taxback International. We are looking at expanding the scope now to places like Asia Pacific and Latin America, which I had not even considered would be possible, and also looking at traveler behavior. Taxback International provide us not only with the analytics of the countries or the individuals that are perhaps not always providing VAT compliant receipts, but also with the training to make sure that they are able to submit compliant receipts in the future. So to go to them with tailored communication, which we can only do because of the Taxback International analytics, will improve our reclaim because they will know how to submit VAT compliant receipts. If I could give any advice to other SAP Concur clients regarding VAT reclaim, even if you have an existing process, go and get it checked out by the experts, because we had an existing process beforehand, it was not optimized, and it's only through the experts that you can make the initial improvement of just cleaning up that process, but also continuously improve for the future.
So as we heard from Daniel, by bringing the experts in their field, it's not just about the integration, it's also about optimizing the process. And that's why it's important to have partners that are industry leaders within these fields. So their solution not only integrates to Concur Expense, but also Concur Invoice, and fully automates that process to analyze the transactions by machine learning. So not only does it, help with that analysis, but it also can help, by actually recovering the tax by up to 50%. So that can be a big cash flow for some of our companies.
Yeah, it's just such a good example of the power of the App Center, taking that critical data for VAT reclaim that lives in some place within Concur Expense or Invoice, and using it to go drive business value in an ancillary part of the business. So we talked about a couple of categories that are pretty meaningful for us today. We've heard customers talk about the value that they see from our partners. What's next? Like what else are partners taking advantage of, or what else are customers taking advantage of today? What do the next couple of years look like? What categories do you see growing in importance for our customers?
Yeah, sure. Good question also. So I think, we mentioned before, we have over 200 integrations today. So we've only touched on some of the categories within that. But if I focus on EMEA, there is a big demand for integration to ERP, HCM, and other financial services. And that's really because, if you take EMEA as a whole, there's many countries, there's many languages. So having partners to support those different integrations is really key in the market. So that's a big priority for me and the team, to actually bring on new partners in that area. Or actually extend some of the existing partnerships that we have and actually just incorporate some of the systems that we're actually missing. So another area as well for integration is really around, the complex calculations around business mileage and fuel, right? So the management of the business mileage, personal mileage, fuel cards, if employees have that. And again, that's the rules and regulations around that can be very complex and per country basis, right? So having a partner that can actually deal with all of those calculations, that's a key area. And we've already onboarded a few partners that can actually do that within EMEA, as well as, of course, in North America, we have that. Another category, which is a huge focus, not just in the App Center, I think that's just across the board with SAP and SAP Concur, is really about sustainability. And of course, that covers a large variety of topics, right? Sustainability can cover lots of different areas. So, we're really looking at bringing in partners that can look at alternative modes of transport. right? So suggesting alternative modes of transport when they're actually booking the trip. So that's through of course, the Concur travel part. Also partners that will potentially influence or have a solution that would influence a business traveler. So again, once you're booking a trip, how can you actually, not just from an alternative transport method, but actually influence the way that they travel as well? The other area, of course, is about actually reducing business travel. So again, that can be an alternative method. So, like we're doing today as we're all at home, doing these meetings via Skype, via Zoom, Teams, all of these things. So having that alternative way of actually doing your business. So we're looking at partners around that as well. And of course, one of the last parts within the sustainability that everyone talks about is really offsetting your carbon footprint. So we have the data that can analyze, of course, what the trip has been, both from a airline, train, car perspective, but also from an expense perspective. So what you've been eating, going out, all of that stuff. So we're looking at partners that can also help us from an offsetting perspective as well.
I'm super excited about sustainability as a category. It's such an important topic, I think, for everyone. And with SAP Concur being such a center for business travel, we have such an opportunity through our own products and solutions and through our partner ecosystem to really be a leader on this topic. So I'm super excited about that one specifically.
Yeah, and just to touch on that, I mean, you mentioned the product team, of course. I mean, we work very, very closely with the product team. So, if we, from a product strategy perspective, if we see something that's needed in the market from our customers, then of course we try and push that through the product strategy group. But in some cases, I mean, and that's really one of the key aspects of the App Center is we can go to market really, really quick with a partner integration if they already have a solution that's been built. And in some cases, that's also the preferred method for us to scale into specific markets, just because of the presence maybe is slightly different. So, we are working with the team, and where we don't develop, we basically go out to the market and find these partners to actually create these integrations. And hopefully the majority of these partners already exist. So it's a case of just bringing them on board.
That is the beauty of the App Center itself, right? Is there are, as we've seen throughout this or heard throughout this, there are subject matter experts and topics, and our ability to bring them in to our platform and have our customers take advantage of that subject matter expertise they bring in the context of how they're using the SAP Concur products is I mean, it's a beautiful thing, and it actually ties back to how we started this conversation around the IDC report. You mentioned this is the expectation of customers, and this topic, along with a lot of the other ones we've talked about, are the way that we're delivering on the vision that the customers are telling us they want.
Yeah, absolutely agree on that. I think it is, and the ecosystem that we're building through the App Center is bringing these niche, industry experts, and just basically combining them for the customer's benefit at the end of the day. And of course, I mean, just to touch on the amount of data we collect within, the travel and expense for, Concur, the customers really have the ability to utilize that data to their advantage and really get the value out of it.
So just to wrap us up here, you're not using an SAP Concur solution today, you want to learn more, you can, the starting place I would point you to is the actual App Center itself, which is just www.concur.com/appcenter is maybe the starting place. And then you have, if you're an existing customer, talk to your account manager. If you're just interested in talking to somebody at SAP Concur, you can obviously inquire through the .com site. Marker and I are available as well if there's any specific topics that you want to get into. But I think I guess to wrap up, I hope this was a helpful introduction to the App Center program at SAP Concur, and that it gave everybody listening just a little bit of insight into how we're building this connected ecosystem of partners. And then Mark, just let you kind of take us home here.
Yeah, so I think you just summed up really well there. So yeah, I mean, reach out to us. look at the concur.com/stroke App Center website. Any questions, please, forward them through to us. We're here to help. And of course, also from a customer perspective, if there's something that you think that we can do better from an App Center perspective, or an integration that you miss, then reach out to us that way as well. So thanks a lot, everyone, for joining. Appreciate your time.